So I've just noticed there's another SHS just here, which probably explains why we had differing values. That, that. So the balustrade, we don't really need to worry about. We've already added it in the square meter rate of the upper flooring. This privacy screen you've presumably added for the windows, but that's not really the intention. Actually, this one here, it's powder coated fixed privacy screen that goes over the window area. Oh, let's just copy that to glazing. So that's bed 2 and bed 3 and study, but study doesn't show it. Interestingly. Even though it definitely needs it as well. And 0.6 times 1.5, 1.2 times 1.8 times 2. So we've got a total of 5.22 square meters. Foyer and rumpus, foyer and rumpus, fixed glass window, fixed glass foyer, and so study of fixed glass, rumpus. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we some more down here as well to the kitsch. Are they awnings? Awnings. So it's 4 in total. Eight of them. What is that window at the front? Oh, there's another one there. Void. Foyer. Let's count these up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3. 4. Going to assume for all intents and purposes your cladding quantities are pretty accurate. They seem sizable enough for the house. What we haven't allowed for is the window trims, which they're presumably going to want around all the windows. They haven't shown it, but given they're going to the Hamptons look, it's very likely that's what they'll be wanting. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. To kitchen. It's fine. Now, external stairs. So what are we doing with these external? Because they're close to the boundary, theoretically they're not allowed to be timber to the best of my knowledge. Usually there's a NCC requirement. NCC stairs and landing boundary. Just looking on the ABCB website. Separation. Boundary. So the NCC clarifies the minimum setback required for a deck from the property boundary. This clarification explains that an unroofed deck cannot encroach into the minimum 900 mm setback required by the NCC unless it's provided with some means of fire-resistant construction. It is important to note that the provisions have not changed. An explanatory note has been included to clarify that the purpose of fire separation deck is not considered an unterraced roof and is therefore not permitted as an allowable encroachment. This ensures there is adequate fire separation between decks and the boundary to prevent the spread of fire to adjoining properties. A deck and unroofed terrace are different structures. There is no deemed to satisfy a solution specifically detailed for a deck constructed within 900 mm of the boundary or within 1800 mm of another dwelling on the same allotment. The relevant building surveyor needs to determine in accordance with such and such the design method of the fire separation meets the relevant performance requirement. So, in theory, this here is just not allowable unless it is over 900 for the boundary, which if this is the boundary just here, it is not, unless the whole thing is reduced there and then you've got no way to get out. So the only option available to us here is that this be done in concrete as part of the house or some kind of steel subfloor with, say, modwood decking or something along those lines. It's not 100% clear. I'm going to note that we've made no allowance for this and just remove it entirely. And then the east elevation, being these stairs here, where the retaining wall is going to have to continue through there for that to actually occur. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Excellent. So exclude round one estimate number 1. Landing and stairs to western elevation have been excluded as they encroach on the 900 fire separation setback and do not conform to NCC requirements. Specifically, clause 3.7.1.7c. I'm just going to check that clause. Construction, Australian standards. 7.1.7. Nope, that does not exist. Let's try again. Fire separation. It's measured parallel, blah, 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 blah. I believe there was previously a detail there showing a deck. There is a lot of details here. Open carports, now we're getting somewhere. Allowable encroachments. Non-combustible fascias, gutters and downpipes, light fittings, electricity or gas mains, pergolas, sunblinds or water tanks, and unroofed terrace, landing steps and ramps not more than 1 meter in height. So because we exceed 1 meter in height, it's not going to be permissible. So 3.7.2.7C IV. And we're just going to say a deck. Well, it's not a deck technically. It's a landing and stairs. All right, so let's have a look at our retaining wall lengths. So to achieve those stairs, obviously in the natural ground, we're going to have some kind of retaining wall structure because you can't just shape dirt and pour concrete on it. It's not how it works. Further, we're going to have a path down the side there. So the concrete area that was previously selected is obviously not going to be accurate. So we had 55 square meters worth of driveway and crossover. So if we were to assume that we ran, say, a meter or so in front of the porch and then all the way down the side of the house and then up onto in line with the porch again, we're adding an extra 0.2, 35.97 plus 55.02, 91 square meters. Let's put that one in. And east elevation path. It's a bit better, and we've got the concrete charge in there for the steps. And now the retaining wall is going to have to do something. It's a very, very odd way to run the retaining wall. So the stairs are, it's running, needs to go around the stairs and then out. But then they've got this change of height here when really it should be down here because the ground level here is up higher unless the retaining wall returns like that. Something along those lines. So 14.33 times by the height, which is shown as 1.44 meters. But in my conversation with Darren just earlier, I was suggesting to him that it's going to be nigh impossible to cut this down to this height on the boundary because there's a neighbour's carport directly adjacent and would be effectively undermining it. So in reality, we need to choose this height here and bring the whole front section up higher, which would be adding an additional, even if we say put the pad level at the slab level at a pretty consistent height, we'd still be adding, say, another 400 mil onto the height. So I'm anticipating this wall here is actually going to be 1.8, which would see it be 25.79. And the junction of the family and deck. Now we've got this enclosed subfloor here, which it's not abundantly clear what that's actually finished in, whether it's some kind of cladding that's running down the blockwork or if it's just painted blockwork. It's really poorly detailed, unfortunately. But that retaining wall will have to obviously return back to the cut line, which would be somewhere here and out and around back to the pad level. So 44.01 is your finished floor level. So we'd be starting something like that, I guess. About halfway, a bit under halfway, which seems correct. And this height change here is going to be an issue as well. So we bring this around, that stays down at natural ground level, then they've got a height change again. So we've actually got another small section like that. And you can't pour stairs on the side without them collapsing or something to abut against, so you can have another section like that. Now this here, across here is obviously one height, which will be consistent through there. So we've got 2.37 plus 7.16 times by whatever that height change is, which that's the finished floor level. The slab will be down here, so it's about 1.35. So it's 12.87 in that, and then we've got this height here, which is anywhere between 0 and 1.5, so, and at a pretty even scale. So we've got 0.75 times by that distance. And obviously you could step it and measure it, but these are just thereabouts figures. On this side, you've got 0 to only 360 on this side. So you've got an average height of about, I'm going to say 400 because you just run that through at the whole height. You wouldn't step that. So we've got 6.2 by 0.4. Now, going back to that first one, we actually had a height change of 1500 on this side, but because we got cross fall, we've only got a height change of 610 on that side. So 1500 minus 610 is 890. So we're looking at an average height of, no, that's not right. So if we're at 1500 on one side and we're at 610 at the other, 1500 take away 610 is 890. Divide that by 2 and add it to the 610 sees us at about an average height of about 1100 through the center of this, assuming the grade is pretty consistent, which I guess the contours are suggesting it is steep and then not so steep. So the first one would be 9.53 linear meters times by 1.055. So far I'm at 16.56, and all we've done is this section, and through there. Now we've got this short little part just here, which is going to be at the lower side of the height, which is 2.37. And it's going to have to come down all the way through there. So something like that. And then we've got another little section here to be a tiered retaining wall. So we've got what, about 1.6 there. I'm going to hazard a guess we've got about 20.55 square meters. I'm going to assume your stormwater lengths are correct. We don't capitalize the O on 100. And we write, that should say round 1 estimate. Now these are saying 20 linear meters, but we actually have an increasing service length. So I can only assume you've copied these from another job, but not added the actual service lengths. I'm also not necessarily certain it's necessary given the boundaries just here and presumably the powers just over there. That's Telstra services are likely to be at the front of the block, which are within 10 meters. So we should be safe sending those back to standard. Yeah, I'm sure that's right. Now, the interesting thing about Queensland is its warranty insurance is a little bit different than other areas. New South Wales is where you've been working to date. The QBCC has its own, is the direct insurer, as in there's no brokers, it's just a published price list and you actually pay the government direct for the insurance. And it's all just done on a per thousand price. So this would be rounded up to 530. Now the risk is because the price is going up when we add the price of the insurance, and therefore you pay insurance on your insurance. We need to look for 530,000. Now it's saying, oh, that's too high. There we go. It's saying on $530,000, the insurance is 5598.3. Now the risk is we've got 530, and then once we add that 5598, we're suddenly plus margin. We're actually at a much higher figure than that. So if we took 5598.3 and times it by 1.25 being profit margin on top of that, it's about $7,000 total insurance. So if we added $7,000 onto this sale price, then we're at 5704, which is slightly higher. So we're probably better off setting the insurance at 5719.8. If we go save, 536,773. So we've slightly overshot the mark by the looks of it. So we can probably go back a table and probably go 5704.5704. I think it was 0.69. 5704.65. Which is a sale price of 536, which gets rounded up to 537. And done and done.